Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a raid video. It's another one of these post-nerf raid videos. Last one was showing you this new Triton team, and well, actually it was an existing Triton team that just wasn't really utilized because everyone was running the hero Baymax Fen, blah, blah, yada yada yada. So today I wanted to share with you more of a roster raid video. What I mean by that is a raid video that showcases multiple teams so that you can really dive into your roster and actually make the most of your characters. So in my last video I mentioned about getting a score of 2.8 million. I got another one in the last raid of 3.8 million, so increased it a little bit there. But what I wanted to show you is that these scores are possible because I'm obviously making use of multiple teams in my roster and not relying for that, and not relying on that one hit wonder, which would have been that Sven team, the Calhoun team, whichever. So today I wanted to take you through 8 teams, and I'm gonna start with the Triton team that I mentioned, team number 1. This is what I like to use in phase 1, but to be honest, you can use it in any phase. It will work effectively in all phases. There are obviously, you can have multiple variations of this team. I actually used a different team in this run to the one I showcased in my last video, and this one is making use of Stitch and Bubbles instead of Hercules. I think in my last one, Hercules and Honey Lemon. Now, in my last video I talked about positioning of Triton. There is a better positioning actually, which I've uncovered, or well, it wasn't really uncovered, someone else had told me. But basically, if you put Triton in the middle, he's going to call the 2 behind to assist, so you're not relying on 1 assist. So you're going to basically place Stitch and Beast behind him, who's in the middle. Alternatively, you could have Triton at the back and then Stitch and Beast in front, or whoever you want called to assist with Prismatic Blessing. In essence, the aim of this is to get that Cauldron out, start cycling Prismatic Blessing, and just having heaps of assists. So like you're gonna give tactics from Bubbles to Beast or to Stitch. You're gonna hopefully shadow Belle in time before she dies, and really this is just how you're gonna rack up the score. You want a Beast to get enraged, so you're gonna want to use his jump ability, so he uses up those roses and gets there as quickly as possible. And with Triton, you're just gonna want to keep him in reasonable the whole time. So yeah, so lots of good damage here. I'll show you. I'll basically flip the footage to the end to show you the final score with it, but this is going to be a quicker video because I'm showing 8 teams. I'm not going to break down exactly how it plays out, but you can see enough from the footage here that what I'm trying to do with each team, and how I'm trying to be effective with it. So there you go. That's the Triton team. This Triton team I think can actually get upwards of 1.5 million, or variations of this team, as we've seen from people posting in the Forbidden Depths server. So lots of potential here. Moving on, the next team I'm going to talk about is Hero Hercules, Honey Lemon, Baymax, and Barley. So effectively what you've got going on here is kind of similar to pre-Sven, pre-Stitch nerfs, the sort of team you were going for. You've got Barley in there for Guinevere, so he potentially reduces magic on well, in this example I'm showcasing it against the eels, so you're going to use his Guinevere on the eels, hopefully reduce magic. Without Bubbles there though, it might be quite difficult to do that. You're going to use Honey Lemon here for the slows, and potentially reducing turn meter on that basic. Baymax here. Now the important thing with Baymax is you're going to patient Hercules, and you're going to use that patient as much as possible, and do mass impact to give give buffs and give those healing effects to the rest of the team. Because I'm using in phase 2 here, the eels obviously applying poison. Now with Hercules, there's the concern that he will end up getting protect and die to, die to the insta kill because he's taunting. So it's a valid concern. The way I kind of get around it is, is trying to patient him and have the taunt with Baymax, so it provides another option for the eels to insta-kill. The other thing is poison is going to get rid of those protects pretty easily, so you can normally line it up so that he doesn't have those protects by the time that they are actually going to insta-kill him. So but yeah, as I say, there is a little bit of luck involved. Obviously turn order is now unpredictable and random, but the aim here is with Barley, you're going to be passing the book to Hercules, and you're just going to be racking up the damage with Hercules. You want him to get to empowered as soon as possible, so it's obviously good for him to gain protects initially and then get the heroism from it. And as you can see in the footage here, it does quite well. It does end up making a decent 700k run here. With Baymax getting charmed as well, he actually ends up hitting Hercules and getting rid of his protects in the process. So there are ways of managing it, and obviously you want to play this how you normally would. Target the eel with the least 10 meter, the one that's not closest to the insta kill. So it's no different to how you play it with your kind of your Sven team or your Stitch team. So that's your hero Hercules Honey Lemon team. Moving on, we are moving over to a classic here, which is the Frozen Dash team. Now, Frozen Dash is always solid. It's a great one to use in P2 because you're going to use Dash's kicks on one of the eels. Kristoff is obviously going to give him the crit buff at the start, so he's going to get 10 stacks, and then you're just going to do the dash between the two eels, and it hits really hard. Now Elsa in here is obviously going to be doing quite a lot of damage herself. You want to get her to empowered. This is a very solid team for phase 2. Now moving on, we have got Mythicals next, and Mythicals is a team that I like to use in phase 3. Now there's not really much to this other than you just kind of want to hope that Hades gets to empowered, and you're therefore gonna want him to get hit or Pain and Panic to get hit, so that he does get to empowered, and then you effectively want him to just keep smashing Ursula as much as possible. I took in, as you can see in the footage here, I took in Pegasus to be the taunt, and also I've got Eric in here as well, just to be another taunt really. I wasn't using him anywhere in this particular run, and so yeah, it's really the main thing, really just getting Hades to attack as much as possible. Obviously the buffs from Ursula, if you can manage to do the contracts, are fine. This is a good team for the contracts because there's they will crit. You can obviously heal with Miguel as well, so it's a team that can fulfill the contracts relatively easy. So just one here, it doesn't do too much damage. They get about a 200k run in, which is okay. But for phase 3, I have used my best teams at this point, and effectively just want to rack up some damage in phase 3 and phase 4. So a good one here. So moving on, we have got Oceanics, and the staple team here is Maui, Moana, Ursula, Gantu, and then a random 5th. Obviously I've used Bubbles in my main team, so he would obviously be great here if you could spare him. But as you can see from the footage, the main thing here is actually about landing slows, right? So you want to land slows with either Gantu on his first special, Moana on her first special as well. She's going to apply a slow, 2 slows, and then you can also apply slows with Maui. Now why you want to have slows is because Moana is going to attack twice when the opponent is slowed, and obviously slow is one of the best abilities for the raid because these raid bosses are notoriously quite quick and you stop them from getting to their insta-kill quicker. So the main thing here is really just about keeping Moana alive, timing the taunt with Maui wherever you can, and so that he eats the insta-kill. He's obviously there for that initial shield as well to give added protection against, you know, the poisons and you know, the big damage that Ursula can do in phase 4. This is a team I like to use in either phases 2 to 4. Actually, I can use this in phase 3 as well, but yeah, I've got footage here showing you phase 2 and showing you phase 4, where I've used Merlin for phase 2 just for the cleanup, the tactics that he can give. And also I then use Dr. F in phase 4 just because I can throw a taunt on like the eels, for example. So but yeah, this team can net around about 300k damage. If you've got bubbles in there, you can do upwards of 400-500k easily. But that's definitely one team to look out for. Now the next team I wanted to show you was Toy Story Villains. Now I like to use these in phases 3 or phase 4. The footage here is showing you phase 4. Now the real damage dealers here are going to be Zerg and Big Baby. Big Baby has a big special attack. He actually does a lot of damage at tier 8, which is what I've got them. But this team is a good team just to go in and do some big damage. So you know, against Ursula against Ursula in phases 3 and phases 4, it's really just about brute forcing your way through her. So this is a perfect team for that. And yeah, as you can see here, I'm taking advantage of the vulnerables that you get from wiping the tentacles, so that when Zerg and Big Baby do their hits, they hit for like big damage. Chunk is obviously great here just for keeping the damage away from Big Baby and Zerg with his taunt, and Bo Peep is another who can throw a taunt on Chunk or herself. So yeah, another really good team here. The next team I wanted to talk about is Sensational Six. Now, Sensational Six are another team I like to use in phases 3 and phases 4. They are effectively a big damage dealing squad, and if you get a good contract in phase 3, they can really whack really hard. Donald and Daisy do huge hits for, you know, 14k. Mickey does his Disneyland Forever for 6k hits if you've got some good buffs out of the contract, and you know, will heal up the team. There's not much survivability with these guys. They are just, you're gonna go in and they'll probably last about 2 minutes, but you'll get, you know, maybe 100 to 250k run with them. It's not bad. If you're able to bring in someone who can apply offense down, then you will survive a lot longer. Their biggest problem is that they're quite squishy, so they will die quite quickly to attacks. So that's another team that you can make use of. Most people have Sensational Six now at this point, farmed for Conquest and Squad Arena, so it's a really good team to use just in general. And then finally, we've got two teams here. I've kind of got two teams here. It depends on the roster size, but you can basically make a second tech team. Well, when I say second tech team, you've already used Hero and Baymax, so this is where you're going to use the others like Go-Go and Gizmo, for example. I use Sergeant Calhoun just because I leveled her up for the Calhoun effect, which might be back on, by the way. Quite exciting news there. Stay tuned on this one. I'm hoping to do a video where trying to see if we can still solo or get big damage at least from it, but stay tuned for that one. But anyway, in this footage I show that I use her for this second tech team. Gizmo lead gives extra shield when characters crit, so this is a good one for phases 3 and phases 4 where Ursula hits really hard. I like this tech team in phase 4 because Gogo does a lot of AoE damage, and you can effectively rack up some big numbers from the vulnerables that you get on Ursula due to the tentacles, and yeah, it's just quite a good team that get about 200k. And then in the same vein, we've got the Kingdom team. Most people will have Shan Yu, they might have Namari or Sheriff, Shan Yu. These are great characters for phase 4 of the raid. In fact, if you don't have a complete Kingdom team, you can just dump in some big damage dealers into phase 4 and effectively dump on it, because all you need to do in phase 4 is effectively get rid of Ursula's 2 tentacles in the beginning, and then you're going to have a free couple of big hits while she is passed out behind. So you can effectively do a Shan Yu headbutt for 26k. Sheriff's gonna hit for 20k with his belly bump, and any other damage dealers that you want to take in will do a good job in this phase. So there you have it, guys. That is 8, maybe 9 teams with the Kingdom and Tech switch up for number 8, but effectively 8 teams here for the raid. And you'll see the numbers. I'll just put the numbers up that I managed to deal in the last 2. So 2.8 million and 3.8 million. And as I was saying before, guys, you only need an average of around about 400k damage per person from your club. So I'm obviously sitting here with a decent roster. It's not the best by any stretch, but it's a pretty good roster and it gives me a lot of options. But for most people, they might not, that most people don't have all 8 teams. You can still make at least 2 or 3 decent teams out of this. Most people can have Frozen at this point. Frozen Dash is always great for P2. Most people have some kind of Oceanic team. The Little Mermaid trio, Moana, they're absolutely fantastic in the raid. Big Hero 6, still fantastic in the raid. You've got at least 3 or 4 teams here, and then anything else is just an added bonus. Toy Story villains, not many people are going to have that. However, I included them here because you're going to need them for Ascension, to get through that second part of Ascension, and to know that they can do 300k damage in the raid as well. It's just good to know. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. This is just really to show people that that the raid is a struggle now, but if you've got players that can make the most of their roster, it should mean that you should get through this raid still a decent pace. It just requires people to be engaged and people to actively think through the teams that they're using. And in the phases, so looking back at the footage there, you can see that I used specific teams in certain phases. Like my main team I used in phase 1 mainly for my club, because phase 1 is always the hardest phase in the raid for phase 1 and phase 2. So I used my big team there to get 1 million, and then you'll see in phase 2 I used the Hercules team to get 700k. Because they work really well in those phases. In phase 4, when it's a bit of a dumping ground, this is where you can use your Kingdoms, your Tech teams, and your Toy Story teams, for example, just to dump in them. And the same with your Sen 6, your Oceanics as well. Oceanics actually can do quite a decent job in phase 2, but for the most part, do your big runs in phase 1 and phase 2, or if you're uncomfortable with that, or your club needs you to do big damage in phase 4, then keep your teams for phase 4. But ultimately, this is about spreading out your attacks and playing smart. So I hope this helps. It's a long video, but there's a lot of teams to get through, and obviously I've not gone into specifics, but for each one. But hopefully I've done enough to explain the teams in general, and you've seen a little bit from the footage that what the general idea is here. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I will keep chipping away at this raid. As I say, Calhoun effect, don't think it's fully dead yet. There might be potential here, and I'll let you know as soon as I have the footage and as soon as I've been able to test it. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.